Welcome to Listen to Older Voices, a program produced for Wesley Mission Victoria and broadcast through the Community Radio Network. It's always a pleasure to bring you, through their stories, the life and times of older people in our community. All very interesting, all very different, and all very entertaining. Thank you for joining me once more for another program in the award-winning series of Listen to Older Voices. I'm Rob Greaves, and this is part 2 of a 3-part program featuring the life and times of Mary Davenport. In part 1 we learned that Mary was born in August of 1920, and despite her family being well set up, they, like many others, were hit hard by the Depression years. But Mary ended up having a good education, largely driven by her grandmother's belief that women needed to be well educated. Mary is a well-spoken, vivacious and intelligent woman. This week we learn how she met and married Frank Davenport, a soldier, and, believe it or not, they met and he proposed within a week. And as Mary said, because of the war, you worked fast and grabbed them while you could get them. Using great recollection and humour, we follow the story of Frank's return from war and their setting up their home together. There are many stories, including those about her children and her much-loved adopted daughter. We pick up now with Mary talking about what happened when the men returned home from World War II and expected the women to give up their jobs.
Oh, the war absolutely changed our life, and the women drove the baker's carts. Trouble is, when the men came back, those that did survive, the women didn't want to give up their jobs.
Well, of course they had their independence and they liked what they were doing.
And they liked that the postman was a woman.
Yes.
And there'd never been a woman postman before. But now we've got them all the time.
Oh, now it's changed again.
It's changed the whole way of life.
Well, a little later in our talk, I'd like to talk to you about the changes you have seen, but come back to your husband. What was his name?
Frank.
Frank, how did you meet Frank?
Well, his sister worked with me in the insurance company. And this particular night, someone had rung up, wanted a group of girls to entertain the soldiers or something. So we were sitting there at Leggett's. My father said, "You are not going to Leggett's." Well, I was 23 by then. I said, "Well, I'm going."
I think at 23 years.
Father was very cross about that. And so, of course, he stayed up till I came home.
Well, of course. But that's our
so we were sitting there, and there was a whole group of poor, terrified-looking airmen, young, about 18 or 19 years old, you know. It's so sad. And so hardly anyone was dancing much. When one of the girls from work, that it was my friend at work, Lucy Davenport, she came in late and she had this soldier with her. And we girls thought, oh, what a hunk he is, you know. Where'd he come from? It happened to be her brother. So that's where we...
I should have twigged when you said his name was Davenport.
Yes, you should have, yes. And so he had just come home on leave in the army from Western Australia.
Right.
In the kettle trucks.
All right, okay.
And he had just come home, and so she said she was going to a dance. Friday, he said, "I'll go." So he just came to the dance and met me.
Right.
Well, it was on.
So you see this, in your words, this hunk.
Yeah.
Was there an instant attraction?
Yes, straight away.
Right.
Yes.
What about him?
Yes.
Him too, back to you. Oh,
Yes,
so fireworks were happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
he said to, well, he'd just come home on leave, so he wanted. So he said to his sister, "You stay here, I'm taking her home." I was thrilled to bits. And then the next night we went to the Regent Theatre together, and we spent quite a bit of time together, enough to know each other. And it so happened to be that he knew my grandparents in Paran because he lived round the corner from them.
For goodness sake.
Yes, so it was like an old family reunion.
Exactly. What about Dad? Dad's very protective of you. How did he deal with Frank? Did he...
He stayed up till I came home every time, but Frank was very well mannered, and
So Dad liked Frank?
yes, Dad loved Frank, and
That
so
was
did
lucky.
Mother. Yes,
Yes.
yes. And
So how long did you and Frank go out together before he proposed?
oh, about a week. In those days, you worked fast.
Well, of course, with the war on.
You worked fast,
Yes.
and you grabbed them while you could get them.
Yes, yes. So I'm glad you said
So
that, not me.
After a month, no, about 4 weeks, yes, that, well, you know, we knew each other very well by then because he had had a similar background to myself. And so he wanted to get married before he even went back after a month. I said, you go back to camp and think about it, as I just had a broken engagement from another soldier.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you know, you did all that. So it lasted. So we corresponded. And when he came back 15 months later from Perth, on his way to be in the army overseas, he had 4 weeks leave. Right, he said, we're getting married. Yes, I
And you
said,
did?
yeah, well, in those days you did.
Yes.
You took life as whatever came. And you thought about it afterwards.
Yes. It's very hard for my generation, and certainly those that came after me, to really understand what it would have been like then, because life was really uncertain, wasn't it?
Absolutely. No one was certain of anything.
Yes.
Nothing.
So where did you get married?
At the Methodist Church in Caulfield, and we had a wedding reception. We weren't allowed to have more than 20 people. Someplace in Ripponlea, I've forgotten it now. And my sister was insistent that I'd have a wedding cake. We only had about 3 or 4 days' notice. So the family's butter coupons for the month went in the wedding cake. You know, you did all that.
Of course.
That's sacrifice.
You did what you had to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I had a lovely wedding. We weren't allowed to have more than about 20 people because of the food ration.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's not many, really, is it, between two families? And especially when you've got sisters and a brother and parents, that's almost
Yeah, well,
10 on
that's
your
about all that
side.
came, only a few others, and a
Yes.
couple of uncles and aunts.
Was there time for a honeymoon?
Oh, yes, we went on a honeymoon, and we went down to Mornington because his parents had a house at Mornington,
Oh, how wonderful.
which they used to go down to. Well, but we stayed at a boarding house that I think his mother organised this because he wouldn't have known what he was doing. And so we had 3 lovely weeks down there.
Oh, wow.
And then we didn't have anything else. So while we were there, my sisters had already bought a block of land each in Wavell Street, Bentley. They'd been to a big auction that was there for the old market garden and all that business, and my father organised that for them. So I wanted a piece of land, didn't I?
Of course.
So my husband was quite thrilled about that, so my father organised that. So we put the wedding present money on the deposit.
Right.
We
Yes.
didn't buy any fancy doodads because you couldn't buy them anyhow.
That's
Where were
right.
I put them?
Right, exactly. Exactly. So first of all, they're
So
really
we-
hard to get, very expensive. Where are you going to put them?
And so we had it as a deposit for the land. And then as he went away, I was on War Wife's pension
Right.
and I kept working. So my pension I put towards paying the land. And by the time he came up, he went to Bougainville on the Solomon Islands.
Right. So he had sort
And
of
by the
heavy
time
action.
he came back, I just paid off the land. He was so excited.
I bet he was. You were no different to all those other wives whose husbands left, but for you it must have been very hard to have had, suddenly got married, had a wonderful wedding, a beautiful honeymoon, and he's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
That would have been quite
It was
shock,
hard.
wasn't it? Yes.
But then everyone else was in the same boat.
Exactly.
So we commiserated together.
That's all you could do.
Yeah.
Was he able to write you letters from Bougainville?
Oh, yes, those letters. And so he would never write anything seriously because everything was censored by the officers.
Of course.
And then if he wanted to tell the officer off, he'd tell him off in my letter.
Very clever.
So we kept up a good correspondence.
Yes. Do you remember when the war actually finished?
Oh, do I? What? It was, the bomb went on Hiroshima on my birthday, the 6th of August.
Wow, no wonder you remember.
You bet I remember. I was working in the insurance company, and we went to work that day, and about 9:30, the news came over that the war was finished and we could all have the day off. So we came out of the building, which was at the top of Park Collins Street, there next door to what was the Metro Theatre. And the crowd coming up Collins Street, and we were scared. They were so excited. Everyone was going mad nearly. So my sister-in-law, who now became my sister-in-law, and I went into the Metro Theatre and went to a film. So
Just to get away from the...
Yes. Yes, they were arm in arm and tearing up there. So, we got away from that. So we went and saw a film, and then they showed us things that had happened to the prisoners of war.
That must have been distressing.
That was terrible.
Yes.
However, we lived through it all.
Yes.
You lived through it.
You do. Life goes on, doesn't it?
And it was years.
Yes.
It was a lot of time.
Yes. A long time, a lonely time, and difficult time.
We win it together.
It helps, doesn't it?
Everyone was in the same boat.
Yes. And that's when that Australian camaraderie comes in, doesn't it? Everybody helps everybody.
Very much so, yes. And so, at any rate...
So do you remember the day Frank came home?
Oh, yes, I do. I was at work. Work's right. We used to not work very hard. And we weren't allowed to talk on the phone.
Oh.
It was like a schoolroom.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. I have been told that.
And a message came through, and he said that he had just arrived in Melbourne and would I go back to his place. Just before he came home, his mother died.
Oh, right. Oh, that's sad. He wasn't home for that.
That was sad, yes.
Right.
She had 3 boys. They all were in the army together.
And did they all come back?
Yes, they came back, but she was our victim.
Yes.
She was a beautiful, beautiful lady.
Yes.
I was very close to her. So at any rate, I went back. I said to the boss, I have to go because my husband has just arrived home. This is after 15 months I've never seen him. So they let me go.
Oh, that was big.
And I never went back. I didn't want to go back. I wanted to go back now.
Good for you.